Nice.
Cool. Thanks everyone for joining today. Really, much appreciate it. And we've got an amazing panel here talking about, I guess, the asset management tool, the power of asset management tools. I guess I'll introduce myself. My name is Johnson from GBV, based in Hong Kong. Basically investing on the research and also, I guess, looking specifically around DeFi stuff as well. I guess let us basically introduce yourself and take away, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us today. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Sam. I'm the co-founder of Ratio Finance. Ratio Finance is a collateralized debt protocol on Solana. One of our key differentiators and one of our primary USPs is our risk quantification. So what we actually do is we analyze the underlying risk of the assets that are being put up as collateral. And in that way, we actually set the dynamic collateralization, liquidation, and lending rates. I'm super excited to have this discussion today with the rest of the panel.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for after the party being here and actually listening to a panel. I know it's hard. I'm Thiago. I'm from Transfero. We are more known here for issuing the BRZ token. It's a stablecoin based pegged with the Brazilian real. We are the largest stablecoin in Latin America. Our biggest client, of course, is FTX. We manage all their BRL flows in Brazil. Transfero does other things as well. We are regulated asset managers in Brazil. We started that back in 2015, so we saw everything happening, ICO cycles, everything. And yeah, so glad to have the discussion with you guys.
Hi everybody, my name is Adam Greenberg. I'm one of the co-founders at Nova Finance. Nova Finance is an asset management protocol on-chain. We allow people to create synthetic assets and embed instructions around trade, exchange, and automatic yield generation. And our MVP is basically oriented around portfolios. So we let experienced investors create basically their own investment theses and automate it so that less experienced people can invest sustainably in the crypto space.
Cool. Great to meet you guys, really. So I guess I'll fire up my first question to Sam from Ratio Finance. So I guess like when you're talking about asset management, DeFi, there are a lot of risks. And I guess looking around the adoptions of DeFi and also I guess like Solana, the ecosystem as well, you have many, say for example, traditional finance money coming in, centralized finance as well. So I guess my question to you is that how do you actually quantify the risk itself, and how do you actually bridge the CeFi space into the DeFi space as well?
Yeah, exactly. So, in a lot of ways, traditional finance and DeFi, there's a lot of overlap there, right? So we take a lot of traditional financial modeling principles, a lot of credit risk modeling principles, and have adjusted those formulas to kind of account for the nuances that are in DeFi. And in that way, we really hope to bring in more institutional money, more institutional players and institutional grade investors into DeFi because, as many people know, traditional finance is all about your risk mitigation and balancing your risk profile. So by us actually allowing their users and these investors to see what the realized risk is, what the realized variances are of certain positions, it'll really allow these investors to make a balanced portfolio and really help them further get into DeFi in a way that they weren't able to before. In particular with LP farming, LP is a highly volatile space. A lot of traditional finance, VC firms, hedge funds, etc., want to get exposure to this, but due to the constant volatility and due to the underlying risks and the extremely volatile nature of LP farming, it's oftentimes very difficult for them to do that. So by using our platform, by us partnering with them and showing them how to balance a portfolio, constructed of different types of risky LP positions, it's really allowing them to enter the space in a way that they previously weren't able to.
Cool, perfect. I guess you mentioned the LP pricing, all those kind of stuff, right? So crypto is quite volatile, and I guess there are so many assets within space as well. So I guess the other question I'll kick off to Adam from Nova Finance as well. When you have that many assets, how do you actually diversify it? And how do you actually say, for example, I guess like looking around the asset management stuff as well. So you got different wallet, different chains, and also you got so many assets around it. So I'm just wondering, like, how can you actually manage them properly in a way, first of all, and secondly, I guess how do you actually sort of diversify in a way to catch, say, for example, market narrative, sector rotation, etc. as well?
Yeah, diversification's a really hot topic, I think, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it and categorize it. For me, the real true definition of diversification is you have 10 uncorrelated bets. And to be honest, you can't quite do that in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of people who know the space well and recognize the kind of sub-divisions. So, you know, DeFi, NFTs, privacy coins, infrastructure protocols. There's also something else that's only kind of recently came into the space, isn't really recognized yet, which is income diversification. So, for example, with stocks in traditional finance, you get dividends and things like that, and they can offset a lot of the loss that you get. So, for us, with yield in DeFi, you have that chance to reduce some of the risks or the potential losses that you'd make. So, that's something that we're very focused on with making as many assets as possible, also auto-generate yields.
Oh, okay, cool. So I guess you guys are quite like similar in a way, looking around, I guess like DeFi specifically. So I guess my next question to Thiago from BRZ. So I heard you guys are doing a stablecoin for Brazilian as well. So I guess like looking around the current market structure at the moment, so we already have liquid USD stablecoins, USDT, USDC, decentralized stablecoins such as DAI as well. So why do you guys come up with the Brazilian stablecoin? And I guess like what are some of the sort of unique market offering that you guys are doing at the moment?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Not a lot of people know, but in Brazil, first, the nature of the Brazilian currency, right? It's a non-deliverable forward, which means that no banks outside of Brazil can hold BRL and actually do transactions with that. So it restricts a lot the capital movement around the world. The other aspect is, in Brazil, Brazilians can only have bank accounts in local currency. You cannot have a dollar account, you cannot have an euro account or a pound account. So, which means Brazilians, they actually do their accounting in local currency. So what was the problem for Brazilian users in the crypto space? They would have to go to a local exchange, buy Bitcoin with their local currency, and then send that Bitcoin to an international exchange such as FTX or, well, Bittrex, and operate against the dollar only. And operating against the dollar for a Brazilian is not always the most efficient way, because FX variations, fluctuations can actually damage you a lot coming from a Latin American economy, right? So by creating the BRZ, you can actually hold BRL on a foreign platform that wouldn't be able to accept such currency. On the flip side, BRZ enables international platforms to access the Brazilian market, because you guys know, cryptocurrency exchanges, they are hardly getting bank accounts outside of Brazil. Imagine inside Latin America. It's very difficult. So BRZ bridges that gap. I totally agree that USDT, USDC, those are very liquid, very useful as rails between exchanges and even as a reserve of value. But when it comes to accessing developing markets, you do need this bridge, which BRZ covers. That's the differentiation.
Yeah, okay, gotcha, cool. Yeah, interestingly, we were just talking on the backstage about a few things that, I guess 3 of you that potentially can collaborate as well. So do you guys mind sharing these kind of like thought process behind, I guess, how the CeFi space can actually tap into DeFi, and also how DeFi space can tap into the CeFi component as well, and then bringing all those, like, I guess, like mass adoptions and also traditional institutional coming on board towards the DeFi ecosystem. I guess anyone.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunities here, especially, for example, with Nova. given that they are an asset management protocol, the portfolio managers, something that Ratio can provide is displaying the risk of the certain assets that are being traded in those assets so that the portfolio managers themselves can make very educated decisions with regards to how to balance their portfolios and making sure that there's portfolios available for every type of risk appetite, so.
Yeah, exactly. And for you guys, like the risk profiling stuff you're doing, you've got a really good system set up there. So, we're looking to you basically incorporate those kind of things into our own protocols. So, yeah, absolutely, a lot of opportunity to collaborate.
And let's not forget that the starting point will be someone onboarding with fiat, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. It comes together.
So help in that sense.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So basically, you can just basically do the fiat on ramp, and then tap into the I guess DeFi ecosystem, and then risk management, and then portfolio diversification.
We got the whole flow here from start to end. We got the whole little synergy going right now. So very excited to see what we can all do together.
So can we form a one-stop giant protocol out there? Maybe?
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Who knows? Anything's possible. It's crypto. This industry moves so fast. So maybe by next month we'll have something new spun up. But looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, one of the challenges, like for example, our asset management side has, we have two types of asset management operations, right? One, managing the collateral of the stablecoin itself, which for now has to stay in traditional finance, right?
Yep.
We have to back it with real cash. That now in Brazil is good because we have positive interest rates. So basically we can earn up to 7% risk-free rate on our collateral, right? Which is pretty good. However, when you bring that reality to DeFi, there are way more sophisticated products to be explored. And now our difficulty is to convince our fund administrator to actually, hey, we're going to allocate part of this on DeFi protocols. How can you calculate the net asset value of the portfolio on a smart contract or on a pool at Radium? So that's what you guys have to help us a lot.
If only there was someone that was doing risk quantification to allow these asset managers to see what the actual risks are, so they can enter the space. That'd be crazy. That'd be really good, I think.
Yeah.
So, we're very happy to be taking a part in that and helping out institutions such as yourselves and people like Nova as well. So, yeah.
No, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting that you mentioned again LP pricing as well. So I'm not too sure if you can share about you guys doing in terms of how do you actually pricing the LP risk behind it?
I can't get too into detail about that, of course. But we take a lot of traditional financial modelings. The one thing I will say is that there's a lot of similarities in finance and DeFi, and in particular LP pricing and undisclosed pricing of traditional financial assets that can be tied together very easily. But in particular, accounting for some of the nuances in DeFi, some of the idiosyncratic risk, for example, that's available in DeFi as opposed to traditional finance, with just some of the little things that are so different. Accounting for that, adding that into these formulas that already exist, improving on that, and then obviously doing a lot of back testing, and we got some really great people working on all of our models and constantly updating it. So I know that wasn't a complete answer to your question.
Yep.
But I hope that was close.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And I guess for Adam, so I'm just wondering. So say for example, right now the market narrative changes very quickly, and I guess sector rotating in and out as well from different ecosystems. So from your point of view, so you were basically doing asset management tools, looking around the user behavior, say for example. So from your point of view, I guess what are some of the unique things that users need to be aware, and also maybe you are offering as well, just to sort of increase all those efficiency around asset management and helping the users to manage their sort of portfolio as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big focuses we've got is accessibility. So obviously we're Solana based right now, but there's an entire ecosystem of blockchains and assets out there, and even further beyond into traditional finance, coming back to what I talked about 10 completely uncorrelated bets. So that's something that we have a massive focus on, and we're really focused on integrations, partnerships, already working on an EVM version of Nova, which we're hoping to roll out towards the end of Q1. So, and then the second part is probably adaptability. So there are other portfolio-oriented platforms out there, but they're very fixed. And like you said, the crypto space changes so quickly all the time. It's a lot of speculative capital, which makes it very cyclical. So a lot of assets, when they don't have strong user adoption like Bitcoin, Solana, and other protocols like Ethereum, they're maybe only successful or outperform those assets for 2 or 3 months out of a year. So one of our big focuses is being able to provide the data and infrastructure for people to recognize those trends and make adaptations and the composition of a portfolio different so that they're always right at the front of what's hot, basically.
Cool, interesting. I guess like in terms of the future asset management space, right? So we now have DeFi infrastructure being built across different ecosystem, and then the CeFi is trying to tap into the DeFi space as well. Traditional money is also joining. So I guess like the last big question to everyone here. So like, what's the future like in terms of the asset management tool space, and also, I guess, like, what are some of the things that you envision that, say, for example, CeFi and also DeFi can work together to improve the overall efficiency or reliability or reducing risk within the DeFi space?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the last, well, in particular, the last year has been kind of like the Wild West in DeFi. A lot of stuff is happening. There's constant innovation. There's all these, things happening all the time. And I think that as the market matures a bit more, a lot of traditional financial principles, not necessarily the mechanisms, but the principles, will reemerge in DeFi to kind of structure it, provide some stability within the ecosystem, and really make it so that it's not just DeFi, it's not just traditional finance, it becomes open finance, where everything is being brought on chain, but it's done in a structured and permissionless manner. So that's my personal opinion. I think it's going to be really cool to see, and I think it's going to add a lot of efficiency. But we do need, I think, a little bit more of the structure that traditional finance has, and a little bit more of some of the tools that are present there, because finance has been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years, so they have something figured out, but I think DeFi has a lot of room to grow still.
Yeah, I think I'll follow on your note. I usually like to think of the future of DeFi incorporating those elements from traditional finance. So, for example, one market that I think that is ripe to be taken is the import and export market, and whatever is that is derived from that market. So basically, enabling, let's say, a Chinese person to finance the agricultural production of Paraguay, for example. That would only be able nowadays through stablecoins and decentralized applications. Because in the traditional market, there are so many barriers, there are so many friction in this process. Even the price discovery or opportunity discovery can be a problem nowadays. Quick example. Someone who wants to do any exotic FX trades nowadays, he will find liquidity problems. So someone importing something from Turkey out of Brazil would have to go from the Brazilian real to the dollar, and then from the dollar to the Turkish lira. So many intermediary banks, so much friction, whereas when you have a pair, let's say BRZ by lira, which is a stablecoin from Turkey, you have a way more frictionless way to do that. And once you start thinking about sophisticated products like, hey, why are you doing this FX trade? Oh, because I'm hedging my investment on coffee production in Bolivia. Then you start to have complex products. Then you have more yield opportunities on the DeFi space as well, based on the real world economy. So I think that's the next frontier for DeFi, to start to tackle those real world use cases as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that the future of DeFi and finance overall is automation. It's improved infrastructure around risk profiling, for example, with you guys. It's also compliance, allowing people to onboard, and also decision making, which we're starting to get into with like DAOs and things like that. For us, the way we see it is that when these things start to get sophisticated, the way that we allocate capital is going to become a lot more efficient and effective. So when we're funding innovation, we're pioneering a lot of new technologies and ideas. And although what we're doing right now is very digital and kind of crypto orientated, it's going to be a lot more different industries getting into this space over time. Renewables, you were talking about like importing and remittance and all these kind of things. So yeah, that's where we see it, funding innovation in a much more effective way than venture capital or any other previous kind of traditional finance has ever been able to do.
Yeah, interesting. I guess like Thiago mentioned the open banking API kind of stuff as well. I guess like what's more interesting from your background is just basically I'm more a DeFi native guy. I don't like, though I got a like finance background, but still consider myself as a DeFi native. I'm actually very curious to hear your thoughts on, say, for example, based on your experience with the CeFi space at the moment. So when you're looking at the DeFi space at the moment, so what are some of the things that the DeFi lacks of that you think that CeFi can bring towards DeFi in a way that I guess like trying to piece the puzzle all together for the future open finance ecosystem?
Yeah, well, to briefly talk about our experience with open banking, for example. So in Brazil, we developed our own infrastructure that connects the bank payment system in Brazil with our stablecoin. So basically, everyone who makes a local bank transaction gets his credit on the exchange already in BRZs. So that's already fully integrated. It's a 24/7 system, instant payments, basically, right? So what I think that DeFi can bring into that is, for example, why not give a credit limit to that guy based on a DeFi protocol of lending?
Yep.
Why not let him settle in international stable coins, even though he's using a Brazilian banking infrastructure, you know? That's the next frontier in our perception. We're also bringing a fight to Argentina as well. We're launching the ARZ token. That's a world of problems different than Brazil. I don't know if the audience is aware, but Argentinians, they can only take $200 out of the country per month per person.
200?
200.
Nice.
Wow.
So they are basically locked in this like a prison, financial prison there. And crypto is saving them. And stable coins will help them, are helping them, like the USDT. They are using USDT as a currency. One day I was talking to the Central Bank of Brazil, and they said, well, would you really keep your savings on a stable coin and not on a government-backed fiat money? And I said, how many government-backed currencies do you actually trust in the world nowadays? I mean, how many countries there are, and how many currencies are actually solid?
Yeah.
What, the pound, the franc, the dollar, the euro? How many more? And how many shitty fiat currencies we have in the world? So a lot of people from a lot of countries, they would actually prefer to have Tether or USDC or BRZ than having their own local fiat currency. So that's where, in my view, is the opportunity, is to bridge those two worlds and release a lot of people from this financial prison they live in, you know? So that's that.
Yeah, so essentially, I guess like the future of, so-called future of France, liberating all those like financial prison, leveraging DeFi infrastructure, and also tapping into, like, say, for example, risk management stuff as well, asset management as well. Okay, cool. I guess like last thing, just to sort of wrap up the talk, really. I guess talking about what are some of the most exciting things that you've seen in the crypto space that I guess like motivate you to build your own protocol? Do you want to take it?
I mean, I think
I can go first if you
Yeah,
want.
go for it.
It's honestly a lot of the projects that are here today, you know, they've been very forward-thinking in seeing the potential of Solana. You know, we were originally going to try and build Nova first on Ethereum, but that's literally not possible. With
Gas
the amount
fee.
of, yeah, it's hideous right now. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're kind of slowly pioneering the future in finding ways to do the infrastructure more efficient. And now it's the time for, you know, like, I'd like to think ourselves, Ratio, Port Finance, and others who are just on that curve of setting up all the infrastructure on Solana. You know, they're probably the future and the things that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, in our case, we started BRZ on Ethereum, but then obviously transaction costs and scalability problems led us to look into Solana. I can say that Solana went even beyond because now we are one of the ecosystem fund managers for Solana in Brazil. It's a $20 million fund that we invest in early stage projects. So we have a bigger strategic alignment with Solana than, of course, speed and scalability and cost, but also a strategic alignment with the protocol.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, for us, Solana in particular was super exciting just because of the types of transactions that we want to do, the types of protocol that we are. But what I'm most excited about actually is continuing meeting people like this. Our partnerships are always awesome. It's been great seeing everybody in person for the first time. Most people, we've been talking to them for months, and actually putting a name to the face has just been really cool. And the after parties and stuff have been nice. Actually bonding with these partners. So I'm just really excited to keep this going and see where we can all take this the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Cool, perfect. I guess thanks for the amazing chat. Really talking about a very different perspective from the CeFi and also DeFi in terms of asset management tools, and also talking about what motivates you guys to build the protocol itself. I guess I'll just wrap up here, and thanks for everyone for joining as well.
Yep.
Cool.
Good one, man.
Thank you, Doug.